What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is I can't do it. I can't. It's too much. I mean, it's just so much ridiculous stuff. My poor little heart can't take it. Alright, Fear the Walking Dead, Season 3, Episode 4, 100. Oh man, I did not think I was ever going to return to this show, but the reason I am is because I have heard that it gets better. I don't know for sure because the source that I'm hearing this from is somebody that I know that honestly liked the first two seasons. So their judgment is a little compromised. Because I've already talked about it. If you want to go watch my reviews, a little bit older reviews, like 3 years ago, I talked about the show. And that was when I had my terrible camera basically off the laptop. Yeah, it was a long time ago. But yeah, so returning to this though, I did watch those reviews of season 2 and then the 3 episodes that I watched of season 3. I watched those reviews just to kind of catch myself back up. And yeah, it's a show that has its bright moments, it has its interesting parts, but then also is filled with a lot of plot contrivance, with a lot of stupid decisions, with a lot of very glaringly obvious mistakes. And this one, the one that stood out to me the most, is the fact that at the end, like, I guess they couldn't get a stunt double that looked like the guy that got thrown off the dam at first. You know, the guy that was, like, grabbing the walkers out of the drain with Daniel earlier in the episode. Like, it was weird because they turned away and then turned back. Clearly a different guy. And they even, like, turned him to throw him off, and the guy didn't even have, like, any facial hair at all. And the guy that was getting thrown off has, like, a neck beard and a mustache. I'm just like... like, why could this guy not figure... Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, what... How do you make that mistake? How does an editor or a director look at that and go, you know what, this guy has completely different hair than the actor. He doesn't have any facial hair at all. Who cares? Nobody's really watching. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes stunt doubles, sometimes photo doubles do not look like the actor that they're portraying. But most of the time it's because they're from far away or they're in motion, so you can't really see their face unless you like pause it and slow it down. This was not that. This was pretty close, and you see him fully turn, and there's no facial hair. That's an obvious mistake, and this show does that a lot. And it's like, I don't know if the editor or if the director's at fault, but somebody is. And nobody seems to be picking up on these mistakes, and they just go through like it's no big deal. So anyways, there's that stuff, but also the plot contrivances are ridiculous. Yeah, I'll draw reference back to the one episode from season 2, episode 8, where Nick was on his own and he's just going through all this stuff, and there's so many times he should have died. You know, like there's a time where he falls asleep and these two dogs bark at him before they attack him, and then don't go for his throat, they attack his leg, and they just happen to attack him right before a herd of walkers showed up. And then whenever, you know, things started happening, these guys start shooting the walkers that he's blending in with because he covers himself in the walker blood all the time because that's just a thing on the show. They just start shooting all the walkers. They don't pick him off. And then one of the guys sees him and decides, oh, well, I'm going to be scared for some reason that I see him out of a group of walkers. And it's going to make me drop my bullets, which is going to cause me to get eaten, which is going to cause the guy and the machine gun on the truck to drive away scared. Like, just all of this stuff, and then on top of that, he nearly dies of thirst, and then it starts raining. I'm just like, okay then, so, yeah, apparently these guys are just invincible. Well, start back watching again, and the first episode back, my god. Yeah, so Daniel is trying to walk away from this walker. Apparently he got some really bad burns on his leg, and he's trying to crawl up under a car, and the walker's pulling at his leg, and apparently it's his burnt leg too, so the walker doesn't bite it because, you know, dead skin, I guess. I'm pretty sure they've shown before that walkers, the reason why they don't attack you if you're covered in the blood is because they don't like dead skin. It's fresh skin that they want to eat. Well, even so, aside from the leg, there's a lot of fresh skin. So it's pulling at him, and then a dog. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's because plot convenience. One of the things I just going back to the comments of last season too. One of the things I remember is Glenn had a dumpster. One of the things that I love to use whenever it's like, okay, that was very convenient. Well, Glenn had a dumpster, so there you go. So yeah, he survives that. Then all of a sudden, this other guy shows up, named Ephraim, I think is how you say it. Um, but yeah, so just his whole deal was, I don't know, kind of a mysterious character. Seemed a little, almost kind of like Jesus from The Walking Dead. He had an interesting way of taking down the walkers, though. I will say, like he just carries these nails and a hammer around, and so he'll just stick the nail and then right into the walker's head. I will say that is a very clever way to do it. I've not seen that before on The Walking Dead or Fear of Walking Dead, so that was pretty cool. And his character was kind of mysterious, but not super interesting to me. And then also he's got this girl Lola who apparently is working for Dante at the dam. So their whole story was kind of okay. But yeah, just as far as that part of the story where Daniel meets them and they're hiding him out, the only thing that stood out to me there that was, unfortunately there was nothing really good that was stood out there. But yeah, the bad stuff definitely stands out more in the show because it's more glaringly bad. So Daniel is with Lola. She knows how to treat him, and so she's going to get rid of all of the dead skin where his leg got burned. She's gonna, carve it off. So she's like, "Don't scream." Don't scream as I carve this dead skin off of your leg that already hurts just from touching it. Don't scream. I'm thinking, if you guys have ever seen How It Should Have Ended, like the YouTube series How It Should Have Ended, that one guy from the Spider-Man How It Should Have Ended just walks in. Here's a bright idea. Why don't you give him something to bite down on like they normally do, so that way whenever you carve it off, he won't be screaming because he can bite down on something. Or tape his mouth shut. Or, the guy ends up putting his hand over his mouth like this. I know this doesn't really cover much, obviously. But do that before she starts carving. Instead of she starts carving, he starts screaming, and then he's like, "Oh crap, 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 stop. What did you think was gonna happen?" Hello? Oh man, yeah, this just from the very beginning stuff, I'm just like, yep, this is the Fear the Walking Dead I remember. A lot of stupid stuff. I'm just sitting here getting frustrated. It does pick up a little bit though. Daniel talks to Ephraim about some of the stuff he did, and that's one of the things I was looking forward to whenever Daniel showed up at the end of the last episode. He was one of my favorite characters that they just sort of got rid of in season 2, probably for actor related reasons, so I can't really blame them on that. But I was excited to see him back. I wanted to see him because he's such an interesting character. He's one of the few interesting characters on this show. So listening to him talk to Ephraim about that stuff was interesting. Unfortunately, it didn't last very long. And then on top of that, whenever he leaves, he takes out the one walker, and then there's another walker standing there over him. Because, as we know, walkers, they like to intimidate their prey before they attack. They like to walk up to him and stand there. Go. So Daniel starts praying, and I do remember there was something that was said in season 2. I didn't think much of it then. Now I'm wondering what this show's doing. Because they're sitting there, Maddie was talking to Travis at the time, and he said something along the lines of like, what if it wasn't fate? What if it was something else? I'm just thinking like, okay, are you talking about like divine intervention, or are you talking like, is this gonna be some weird fourth wall breaking stuff where like they're talking about the screenwriters giving them like plot armor? Is that what's going on here? Like, what was that line meant to be? Well, I didn't think much else of it because that was just a one line drop. But then, the show jumps the shark. Because as Daniel is kneeling down, praying, and the walker's standing over him, for some reason just trying to look intimidating instead of doing what walkers normally do, which is just attack, lightning. Lightning strikes the walker in the head. I have no words for it. There's plot convenience, and then there's spitting in your audience's face. This was spitting in the audience's face. This is, oh yeah, guess what, guys? You want to know how little we care that we're basically, like, clearly, coincidentally bringing these characters out of, like, unrealistically bringing these characters out of danger? You know how little we care about that? We're going to strike a walker in the head with lightning to save Daniel's life. And the thing is, it would be one thing if, like, it was a coincidence where Daniel maybe had, like, a metal rod, and so, like, he stuck it in the walker's head, but it missed whatever they're supposed to hit that's supposed to kill the walkers. So, like, the rod is sticking out of the walker's head, and that draws the lightning to it. But they didn't do that. They just had the lightning strike the walker in the head. So yeah. At that point, I was just kind of like, so this is the season we're getting. Cool. I'll go ahead and prepare myself for a lot of face palms. In fact, I probably need to go get some migraine medicine after this. My head does kind of hurt. Anyway, so from there, Daniel, he gets brought in by Dante. I did think it was kind of interesting that Dante knew Daniel's past and kind of treated him with respect because of it. But then, Daniel goes through kind of the beats of trying to trick us into thinking, oh, well, maybe he enjoys working for Dante. Maybe this is where he belongs. Oh, is he still crazy? And then ultimately at the before he can throw Lola off the dam, he kills everybody. Well, not everybody, but he kills all of Dante's people and saves everyone. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for this story. But, I mean, good God. The plot conveniences. And the thing is that this was the story that I probably cared about the most on the show, because you've got Daniel, who is a good character. You've got Strand, who's a mysterious and kind of interesting character. And this whole story around Dante and giving people water, not necessarily, like, super interesting, but something that I could see happening just because this Dante guy does seem like a guy who he has power. So he's willing to use that power because apparently he was somebody who was in charge before the outbreak happened. So, I could kind of buy that where some people just went crazy for no reason. We've seen a lot of that this show. But what's sad, what I mean by all of this is this story is probably the most interesting story out of all the stories going on in this show. And even then, I'm still frustrated with all the plot convenience, with all the stupid stuff, the stupid decisions they're making, mistakes that are happening. And next episode, I'm looking, I see a picture of Nick. I don't want to go back to them because I don't like those characters. And if I can't even enjoy the show whenever the characters that are enjoyable on, why would I want to go back to characters that I don't like? And that's, again, maybe the show gets better. Maybe it does. I'll have to keep watching to see, but I figured now's probably a good time since I have Hulu to get caught up on some shows that I couldn't watch because they were only on Hulu, like Fear the Walking Dead, like Legion, like Fargo. So I'll be doing that. But God, I was not looking forward to this. And the problem is trying to do 3 episodes at a time. I don't have a whole lot of recording time on my tablet, so I have to be a lot quicker than this because this was 15 minutes. It's not good enough. All right, so anyways, I'll probably try to keep it a lot more limited going forward. I'll try to mainly just talk about the bad and the good stuff and not try to talk about so many story elements. But there was a lot that I need to talk about for this episode. So, on to the next one. See you there in a sec. And now episode 5, Burning in Water, Drowning in Flame. Get it? Because you drown in water and you burn in flame, but they flipped it and it's burning in water and drowning in flame. Ooh, so clever with the titles. Ooh. Yeah. Not much good in this episode. Even the stuff with Daniel and Victor Strand. Like, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand why Daniel's doing this stuff, but Strand, for me, I don't know, he was such an interesting and kind of vague and mysterious character, but it seems like he makes a lot of dumb decisions, and this seems like another one. You know, in the last episode, he lied to Daniel because he knows Ophelia left, and so he knows this, and yet he's still lying to Daniel like, oh, I'm sure it'll be okay. I'm sure I could lie my way. Like, you really think you can lie to Daniel? You really think he's not going to figure you out? Like, come on. Hello? So, I don't know. Just this whole episode, watching him lie to Daniel until the very end, whenever Daniel realizes, or not realizes, like, I think he knew that Strand wasn't being honest with him, but he was trying to figure out, I guess, how much Strand was lying to him about. So whenever he, gets to the hotel and Strand finally tells him the whole truth, he leaves him behind, of course. I will say, I'm sitting there and he's like, let's see how you get out of this one, and walks out of the hotel. I'm like, well, if I had to guess, even though there's a walker grabbing him and there's about 7 more that are right behind that walker, if I had to guess, he's going to wrestle, get off of that one, and then maybe wrestle, get off of another one, and then maybe like somehow fall through a door and then close the door behind him after wrestling a little bit. It wasn't necessarily that intense. It was essentially just push off, grabs another, push off, turns around, runs through a door, out into the road, and then he runs into a back alley. Because as we know, whenever you get grabbed by a walker, you don't die. Like, I don't know if you guys knew this, because when you watch The Walking Dead, if you get grabbed by a walker, probably should mute that. When you get grabbed by a walker in The Walking Dead, unless you are a fantastic fighter with a weapon, most of the time you don't make it. Like, when they actually grab you, especially grab you from behind, like it's grab, bite the neck. It's very quick, very easy. But in Fear the Walking Dead, it's they grab you and they're like, I don't know why I'm getting a call right now. I'll call you back. But it's very intense in The Walking Dead. It feels like anybody could die. And when they get grabbed, especially, you feel like, oh, they're probably dead, unless somebody happens to save them. In Fear the Walking Dead, somebody gets grabbed, all they gotta do is just wrestle them off. And that's it. I'm actually going to put this on mute because that's being annoying. I'm in the middle of a review. Come on. But yeah, like, it doesn't feel like a grab from a walker is as lethal as it is in The Walking Dead. And that's a problem, because like I've said before about the show, it doesn't feel like the main characters are ever in any danger. It doesn't feel like anybody could die. It feels like all the main characters have plot armor. And that's it. So... but yeah, that was the main problem with Daniel and Strand's storyline. It's just not much interesting stuff. Very predictable. Alicia might have an interesting story, except for the fact that they've pretty much benched her for the first 2 seasons. Like, she was not as important as Maddie and as Nick and as Victor and as Travis. She wasn't as important in those 2 seasons, so I'm struggling to care about her story right now. Like, she actually is... trying, like, they're giving her character growth, like she's learning to break free from some of her past decisions type of thing, and that leap off the cliff into the water was kind of like finding a reason to live almost. I don't, again, like, I didn't care enough to really grasp onto that story, and mainly I think the main reason is because she and that one guy hooked up, and I'm just kind of like, oh, so this old story where essentially, oh, well, I'm hot, you're hot, let's sleep together because it's the apocalypse. That's what we do, right? I don't know. I've because I just have no interest whenever characters just randomly hook up. I kind of tuned out after that. They had a decent conversation, whenever he was skipping stones and talking to her about, like finding a reason to live type of thing. But again, I feel like because Alicia was not given enough of a character in the first season, and because you started off their, I don't know if they're in a relationship or if it's just kind of a one time hookup thing, but because you started it off with the one time hookup, I kind of lost interest. So, anyways, we'll see where that's going though. Maybe Alicia will become a better character. Stuff with Nick and Luciana, I don't really care. Luciana, for some reason, is like, I don't want to stay here. I don't want to stay here. I don't want to stay here. I would rather be on the run. I don't want to be here. Stop. Shut up. Like, seriously. You have a place to stay. They're being nice to you. They're giving you food, water, a place to sleep. What's the problem? You know? Maybe it's because she's like, oh, well, they don't accept me. Well, yeah, because you're new. You got to get to know them more. And the guy even says, maybe Luciana should go. And he's like, why? Because she's brown? I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, they're racist. Of course, that's the whole problem. It's because of racism. You're like, no, it's because she can't let go of what was before. And I can kind of understand that. It kind of makes sense. She is so, like, wrapped up in trying to get back to the people she knows. And Nick's even like, look, they probably have left by this point. You're going back to a place where the people you are looking for might not even be there anymore. And yet she still wants to leave anyway because she's an idiot. The stuff with Maddie, God, I don't think I've ever seen a character in a survival show become, like, just come so near to death so many times and not die. And I'm actually disappointed. Like, this has never happened before. But there's so many times, like, she's just nearly dead. And I'm, like, sitting there, come on, bite her, slice her throat. I don't even like Troy, and I'm just like, please kill her in her sleep, do it. Emperor Hood, do it. Anyways, but yeah, I don't, Maddie, I want her dead. I don't care if she survives. I would prefer that she doesn't survive. But this whole thing, they're setting up who I guess the bad guys are in this season because they go out there and these Indian guys that are out there that apparently want their land back. I'm like, okay, like, was this going on before the apocalypse and now they just feel like they have enough like, does this stuff happen, or is this just another case of the writers feel like, oh, this is realistic, right? Like a group of American Indians that want to take their land back, like that's realistic, right? I'm sure it probably does happen. I know there are some places in the US where there are American Indians who want to keep the land sacred, and that's fine. But this is becoming a scenario where they're essentially like almost this group of, not even terrorists, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but I don't know, just like this group banded together and they're like super good at killing people. Somehow they're able to kill people and feed them to the crows, where the crows like are picking at the brain. It's kind of gross and just there for the shock factor, I guess. But yeah, just all of that doesn't really interest me because I don't really have a reason to care about this group of people. I don't care about Troy. I don't care about Maddie. I don't even know the names of the other guys that they're with, but I don't care, It's just not giving me a reason to care. Trying to think, there was one other thing that was really dumb. Oh, the whole scene with them fighting the walkers. Again, so Maddie, she goes out there with a weapon. She gets one down, and she stabs another one, and it doesn't die. And so it tackles her to the ground, and then another one comes out of the car, and I'm like, all right, so she's dead. But no, they just kind of, because that's all they do. Even if they are just flailing their arms, we've seen a lot of walkers like to rip. They grab and they rip open. We've seen them do it several times. But again, for some reason, the walkers on Fear the Walking Dead, when they grab somebody, no desire to kill. They just want to give you a nice big hug. Come here. I just want to give you a big old hug. So yeah, the two walkers on top of her don't kill her. Um, one of the guys shoots a crossbow arrow in the other one's head, the one that she hasn't stabbed in the neck, and so then she whips out a baton, stabs that one in the eye. The Troy guy is over there slicing up all these walkers, and I don't know. I just didn't really care about the scene because again, I didn't care whether they died or not. I was kind of rooting for the walkers. But what was funny about it all, the reason I bring this up is because this one guy, the guy with the crossbow, he's sitting there before this whole thing starts and he's questioning Maddie's ability. He's like, "Are you sure you can, take it with us? Are you sure you can be out there with us? Are you sure you can keep up?" All that stuff. And of course, Maddie's talking a big game. She's like, "Yeah, I guess we'll see, won't we?" Like trying to big herself up. And so this scene happens. I'm like, "Oh, she can't even take on 3 walkers. I guess that proves your point. She can't scrap it." He looks at her. He's like, "I guess I was wrong." Director! Director, are you sure I should be saying that? She nearly just died to like 2 walkers. She just nearly died to 2 walkers. She had a big old axe hammer type thing, and she took one out, and then she stabbed one in the neck, and then nearly died to that one, and then another one. I had to save her life. Should I really be saying I was wrong? Because I feel like I was right. I feel like I was right to question her ability because she couldn't even handle, 3 walkers. 3. Troy's over there, he just sliced up like 10. And she couldn't handle 3. And I had to save her. And okay, we're not using logic? Gotcha. Okay, just wanted to check. How much am I getting paid again? Ooh. Okay, that'll pay my rent for 3 months. Nice. That's... There's a problem there. And, that's just one of the things about this show. You can't use logic. You just gotta assume, alright, so she's a main character. She's something special. Even if she nearly just died, she's something special, let me tell you. So, anyways, all that being said, that's it for this episode. On to the next one. See you there. And now, episode 6, Red Dirt. I mean, this is a comedy show, right? This is not supposed to be taken seriously. We're not supposed to be rooting for them, are we? Like, do the writers really think they're just sitting there in their little room? They're like, "Oh, guys, we're writing a masterpiece. Oh my gosh, Maddie's becoming such a leader, and now she's gonna be leading a psychopath to be a leader. Oh, this is good stuff." I mean, my God. Like, in a survival show, you want to create characters that we should want to survive. I want to see them all die. They're all idiots. So, first of all, Maddie, yeah, she's like sitting there looking at Troy, and she's like, "Oh yeah, he's gonna be a good leader." I'm like, he's a psychopath. You're literally looking at a psychopath and inspiring him to be more of the psychopath, pretty much inspiring him to give in to his psychopath. Of course, she's like, at the end, she's like, "You gotta control it." I'm like, whatever. You don't care that he controls it. When he was in there in the basement giving that speech and talking about how none of you are going to leave because I'm not going to let, you guys are going to do what I say. She's like sitting there behind him like, "Yeah, that's what I want to see out of you, Troy. I want you to lose that humanity. Yeah, you go and do you. You be a good psychopath." I'm just like, why should I be rooting for her? Why should I be cheering for her? It doesn't make any sense. And then what happens? Well, he goes out, tracks down the family that tried to leave, and kills them. All of them. And what does Maddie do? She defends him. She lies to everyone and says this is what Walker did. Which, of course, if anybody in there was smart, they would say, wait a minute. But they would be like Nick, honestly. I was actually surprised whenever Nick was the smart one and said, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. When they attacked you guys, they took your shoes, they took your stuff. Why leave all this stuff? This isn't Walker. This doesn't seem like Walker. Because it wasn't Walker. I'm surprised more people aren't like, wait a minute, but I thought they wanted us off the land. Why would they kill us for getting off of the land? That's what they want us to do. But of course they're like, no, see, they just want to kill you guys. That's what they did here. Just like, oh, okay, then why... The reasonable people in the community would be like, yeah, but then they didn't kill you when you guys were out there. So, I'm confused. What does doing this mean? It's just... her plan doesn't make sense. Walker's people clearly outmatch you. Like, you went out there, and they just completely one-upped you. And I'm sorry, but you don't have a militia that can battle against that. They're better than you. They're smarter than you. They know the terrain better than you. This isn't like Rick and Negan, where Negan's people snuck up on them. And then Rick and his team realized what was out there and they realized what they were up against. And that's when they were like, okay, now we know what we're up against. This is like, you guys go out there and then these people that clearly outsmarted the people in this outpost have now ambushed you. Then they let you go back to say, hey, get off of our land or else. And you're just like, no, that was just a one-time thing. That's not going to happen again. We're better than them. We outnumber them. You don't know that. You don't know what's out there. You don't know what their forces are. You're just assuming because you think you're the big old bad person who can take on anything. She's like, nobody else here is going to die. Bullshit. Come on. They are so... They've already killed so many of your people. Again, you don't know what their numbers or what their weaponry... You don't know anything about what they have. You're just assuming, yeah, we're better than them. They're too scared to come at us. Seriously? No, they're trying to give you guys a chance to go, so that way it doesn't turn into a mass slaughter. But they are fully willing to slaughter you if necessary. And that brings me over to Jake. First of all, the whole Alicia and Jake thing, I'm not all for it. I think it's kind of dumb to waste time to even talk about it, but they waste like a good 5 minutes with Alicia and her mom and talking about like, there's birth control in the pantry. Like, who cares about any of this? You're wasting my time. Get to better stories. Don't waste my time with this bullcrap. Anyways, no, but Alicia goes to Jake, and he's like, I can talk to him. I beat him in court before. Which, first of all, the fact that he was in court with him for the last couple years, and then all of this happened, the apocalypse, and Walker was just like, yeah, you know what? Now's a good time to just, go kill people. Again, totally realistic, guys, that the apocalypse happens and all these people are like, cutthroat, we just need to kill them. Yeah, that's what we do. We're in the apocalypse now, that's what we do. In The Walking Dead, it took like 5 years for people to get to that point, or 4 years, something like that. But no, a few months in, we're ready to kill. We're going to kill to take our land back. That's what we do. So Jake is talking about how he's going to go talk to Walker and be like, I can reason with him. I fought him in court before. I've won before. And Alicia rightly says, yeah, that was in a court system with laws. So I do think Jake's being a little idiot about all this thing. Like, dude, he's already proven. Walker's not crazy. That was the line that made me bust out laughing. I'm like, okay, yeah, because he doesn't cut the heads open of people and let crows feed on their brains. Hello. So all of this is just so dumb. And then Nick and Jeremiah are apparently forming like a father-son type of relationship for some reason. I don't know why. But all of this is just... Again, I don't care about these characters. They've not done anything to make me care about these characters. And I don't get what I'm supposed to like about them. That's the thing. Like, for some characters, you don't care about them, you don't like them, but you can see where they're trying to make them likable. I just, watching NCIS, one of the new characters on there. I can see what they're trying to do with her. I can see how they're trying to integrate her into the team and trying these different things to make her funny and likable. But it's not connecting with me because I still don't feel like she's really got much of a character. But I see what they're trying to do. With Maddie, I don't even see what they're trying to do with her. aside from just make her a leader. But she's not. She's not a good leader, at least. She's going to get all these people killed because she's an idiot. Because she's fostering this psychopath and trying to make him the leader and sees something in him that I don't understand because he was responsible pretty much for your group getting taken in and nearly killing all of you at the beginning of the season. So I don't get it. I don't understand what this show is trying to do. I don't understand why I should care about any of these characters because I don't. And again, like I said, the reason I'm watching the show again is because I heard it got better. I know there's a tie-in with Morgan coming onto the show at some point. I don't know what they're planning to do with him. But honestly, at this point, I don't get it. I don't understand why I should care about these characters, why I should like these people, and what the show's trying to accomplish. What is the goal here? Well, now you've set up that it's Maddie and Nick and Alicia at this compound, at this farm with all these people, and now they're trying to fight back against these Indians that want their land back and are willing to take it by force if necessary. So that's the story you've set up for me. But honestly, who are the good guys? Because your main characters, who are supposed to, I guess, be the protagonists, are all kind of acting like douchebags. And don't get me wrong, the Indian guy, it's a little weird that he just went from, okay, I'm going to try to sue them in court, and then the apocalypse happens, and now he's just like, all right, now I'm just going to kill people. I don't know why I keep forgetting to mute that. But, that's a little weird, and I don't necessarily think he's a good guy, but they don't seem like good guys either. Maddie and the people at the farm do not seem like good people. Jake seems kind of decent, but even then, he's an idiot. So, I don't know who I'm supposed to root for. In The Walking Dead, yeah, Rick and his group had to do some awful things from time to time, but it was to survive. And it was being done to even more awful people that were just killing for fun. They had to kill them to survive. This is essentially just, you could go somewhere else. Pack up all your supplies, pack up everything that you've got, move somewhere else, and you'll be fine. Let this Walker guy have his land, since that's really what he wants. They could just do that. I know it would be difficult, but that's what they could do. It would be hard. It would be difficult. But there's another option. Instead, they're going to be idiots and douchebags. Maddie's going to get this Troy guy to be a psychopath and embrace that. Instead of, we're still human. It's not that far removed from when we were all civilized. So maybe we can be human still? Maybe we can come to an agreement somehow? I'm sure if they went and talked to Walker and said, look, let's talk this out. We'll move somewhere, if you just let us gather our supplies, we'll move somewhere else. But you have to give us that chance. That could work. If not, then Walker's the bad guy, clearly. But the fact that they're not even trying that, first of all, the fact that Troy went out and just killed these innocent people that just wanted to leave to keep their family safe, and he went and killed them, that in and of itself is a bad guy decision, and Maddie's like, no, I endorse this. That's good. Yep. I knew this was something that I was getting into that I might have to pay for, something that I might have to deal with, these dumb decisions, this dumb show. I knew this was a risk I was taking by taking on this show and trying to review it and all of this. I knew, but I really hoped that at least there would be a glimmer of something good. And there's not. Right now, even with Daniel on the show, there's still nothing really redeeming about it. So, yeah, I don't know what I've got to look forward to, but I'm guessing they're just going to essentially build up this battle. At some point, the battle is going to happen. I think. Let me just check this real quick. All right, so yeah, they've stepped it up to Walking Dead. So now I guess it's 8 episodes per half of the season. So I guess episode 8 is going to end up being kind of the mid-season finale, so I don't know if the battle for the farm is going to happen in episode 8 or if something else is going to prolong this to make it. I don't know. I don't know what to look forward to. I don't know what the end game is. All I know is this is not a good show. At least for now. Like I said, maybe it'll get better. Maybe they make a decision. I don't think they kill off Maddie because she's still one of the pictures on the Fear the Walking Dead like cover. So I don't think she's going to die. And honestly, that's about the only thing I can think of that would make the show better. So, I don't know. Maybe she becomes a better character after all of this. I doubt it. But who knows? Anyways, that's it for me. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on these 3 episodes? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all the good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe. Future Fear the Walking Dead. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.